From the Middle is a founding member of Odd Pods Media. Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to episode 186 of From the Middle. We are three middle-class guys living in the middle of America, in the middle chapters of our lives, with a point of view that's somewhere in the middle, coming to you soon from a mass media company somewhere. Anyways, in this episode, we like to talk about our year in review. What was 2022 like for you? Let us know. But we talk about what it's like for us. We also talk a lot about sports. We talk a little bit about gaming, and we tell some funny stories. But at the very front, we try the new Mountain Dew hard seltzer, and we tell you if we think it's delicious. Enjoy.
Oh, for the love.
Sorry, just clearing my Mountain Dew hole.
I got my phone hole cleaned today.
That's where you keep it? You're so cerebral and you're so developed and evolved.
From the Middle after dark over here.
The Schlugen Flagen.
Is the Schlurgen part of the Mlegen Flegen?
We're talking about IKEA. If you didn't know, they had more than meatballs, and they name all their furniture.
Why isn't
Crazy
the related
Swedish stuff?
The related product to my new desks isn't the corner thing you're talking about?
I don't know.
I don't know either. Oh, crap. I gotta go back and buy more stuff.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Feliz
Cumpleaños
Años Nuevos.
Nuevos. Is that Nuevos Rancheros?
Con carne.
Speaking of Mexican words, there's some Baja Blast.
Where are you going to go? Mountain Dew.
I texted my wife a promotional photo when I heard that this product was a real thing. And her response was, oh no. If you didn't know, they make hard Mountain Dew. And so during the duration of this episode, I have purchased a mix pack for my fellow co-hosts. Excuse me. And in front of us, from left to right, we have the regular Mountain Dew flavor, then Baja Blast. It's also alphabetical, in case you were wondering.
Of course.
Black Cherry is flavor number 3. And then the last flavor is watermelon. They are all 5% alcohol by volume and 0 sugar. Dylan, what did you say the calories were per?
Maybe 100-ish.
Okay.
Does that sound right?
Yeah, and I have a glass of water in the blue Solo cup for you all to cleanse your palates in between. We don't have to go in order. Enjoy. But yeah, when Sherry found out this was a real thing, she was concerned, not just for me, but for herself, because she is a Mountain Dew head as well. Is this the most redneck thing we've ever done on the podcast?
Nope.
I'm going to say probably not, but it very well could be.
It's close.
It is close.
So you guys just dig in, whatever you want to do. I think you got to start with the original one,
I think
right?
so. Yeah.
That's the way that goes.
And just see what
the way Mother Nature intended.
It tastes like Mountain Dew with alcohol in it.
Oh,
Sure
man.
does.
That's all it is.
And in case you were wondering, I believe Mountain Dew was created originally as a mixer for Jack Daniels.
Yeah, or at least for something.
For some whiskey. So there you go. That could be dangerous.
I could see that. I could see that being a problem. There we are. We've got, it's the wine coolers for the current age. Only it's Mountain Dew, so apparently it's cool, right?
It's cool.
This definitely needs served inside Taco Bell for like dine-in customers.
Are the kids still into Mountain Dew? Is that like an us thing?
I think so.
Well,
you think so?
I think Dylan, a Mountain Dew commercial came on, and you said they're more aware of their demographic than anybody else, or by showing gamers, stoners, and college kids in their advertisements, or is that just what they're trying to go after?
I don't. I think it's the former. I think they know exactly who their target is, and other companies will flail. Like you'll get like Hilton showing like hipstery millennials like checking in at a Hilton hotel, and I'm like, I don't think you know who your demographic is, Hilton. You're trying to use like Gen Z hipsters to like appeal to it's no. If anybody is well aware of their
Yeah.
demographic, I think it's Mountain Dew and Taco Bell, Doritos.
Sure.
It's all one big overlap. If you're curious, it kind of like the first, I'm going to make up numbers. The first 60% of the drink tastes like Mountain Dew, and then you get about 20% alcohol, just straight alcohol flavor.
Mhm.
And then the last 20% is like Mountain Dew again.
But something about it is not pure Mountain Dew. It's almost like you're drinking diet.
It's a little bit watery
Maybe,
Mountain Dew flavor.
Maybe diety.
It's not as sugary
Yeah.
as
Moving on to the
as
Baja.
Mountain Dew, as I've
Big
described
Baja fan.
before, has a mouth feel that this does not have.
Ooh. Baja's dangerous. That's not even my favorite one. I don't even taste the alcohol in that one.
Well, that's because you had the first one.
That's a good thing. We're sipping.
You are.
So this wasn't necessarily meant to be the main segment. I just wanted to orient the viewer to our YouTube channel as to what they would be seeing. So I went to hardmountaindew.com to find out where the nearest Hard Mountain Dew was to my location. I drove all the way up to Centerburg, Ohio, which was only 8 miles away, to get this for you chaps. And while I was there, special shout out to my good friend Robert, who started I'm going to pronounce it wrong, kolaches. 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 It's a ball of dough with meat and cheese inside, and you can mix the meat and cheese. They have a breakfast one with sausage, egg and cheese, bacon, egg and cheese. Kolaches. Kolaches.
Is it like
coffee bar?
Is it like kind of like a Hot Pocket but round, but
It's
bun
like
shaped?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a Hot Pocket but bun shaped.
Yeah.
And his grandma brought these over. I don't remember what nationality these are from. Kola, Kola, Kolaches. I'm gonna look it up real quick. But yes, and they have amazing coffee. Kolache.
It feels like you're just keep saying a made up word.
I know. And it
Doesn't matter how many times you say it.
Czech immigrants brought them to the U.S. They are very popular in Texas, where Robert is from or spent a good portion of his life. And started this business, put his own spin, got his recipe from his Czech grandmother, and started this kolaches.
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 Is it like
galoshes? You wear them in winter.
Is it like bread dough or is it like donut dough?
Bread dough.
And it's baked and not fried, so it's not like a punchki.
Baked. And then the inside, the cheese sticks to the innermost inside, and then the meat and the egg, and then he puts he's even got dessert ones. Anyway, I'm just saying, if you're close to Central Ohio and or Centerburg, look it up. Kolaches Coffee Bar. Get yourself a latte and some kolaches. Just get them. You'll find it.
Colon cheese.
Colon cheese.
Get
yourself some colon cheese within Centerburg. I'm gonna tag them. Sorry, Robert, that I butchered the pronunciation. I'm sure you get it often.
And that we came up with colon cheese. It
But
sticks with you.
But it's on the Ohio River to Lake Erie bike trail. So it's a perfect midway point. So a lot of his business for the colon cheese is cyclists.
Interesting.
So anyway, checked it out today. It's a good spot. They fixed up an old wood mill, and the business resides in there. It's a good spot to just set up and get some work done and have yourself a good doughy ball of meaty, cheesy goodness. So I think I'm going to do that from time to time when I figure out which flavor you guys like most and pick you up some more Hard Mountain Dew. So for this episode, ooh, it's kicking in.
Colon cheese.
We thought we would do a year in review. Happy 2023. How do you guys feel about the odd numbered years? I'm not a fan. Something about the even numbered years
I've never thought about
feels more sound. It just feels more right and correct in my mind.
It's going to be a bad year.
It's going to be a bad year.
Just like every other.
So I thought we'd do a year in review, and I don't think we're going to do our MIDI awards for this necessarily. This is just like, I looked at a couple year in review articles today, centered mostly around entertainment and pop culture, the things that we enjoy. So perhaps you guys can just weigh in or add to.
By the way, what's
Yeah.
the third flavor?
Third flavor of the Hard Mountain Dew is black
Black
cherry.
cherry.
Just give it a real deep smell. It's my goodness, that's delicious.
Yeah.
It's
You
like
know what it
Skittles.
reminds me of? One of the flavors of excess that we had back in the Amway days.
Yeah, it's like a super fruity,
That-
skittly goodness.
That is,
I like it.
we had a cherry.
Is it
Yeah.
weird that like when you said it was black cherry, the first thought that hit my mind was like they should have made it purple?
Mm. Yeah, each can has a color and like an animal design. Regular is an eagle. Baja Blast is a shark. Black cherry is a bear holding some cherries. And then watermelon is a serpent, a venomous snake wrapped around a
Watermelon's
split,
good.
split watermelon.
Cherry has the most smell, but the watermelon, I'm excited.
Okay, so year in review. We're gonna start one article as it relates to entertainment referred to this year as the year of sequels, and I'm gonna add prequels as well. So here are the movies that had big sequels this year: The Minions, Jurassic Park with Jurassic World, Marvel had a bunch, and Top Gun. I'm speaking mostly movies here. Maverick alone made $718 million domestically, making it the highest grossing film this year. And then pivoting to shows, Game of Thrones prequel, House of Dragon, became HBO's biggest series premiere ever at 10 million. And then Rings of Power, the prequel to the Lord of the Rings franchise, had 25 million viewers for its opening, and it's the most expensive ever TV series. Amazon invested $1 billion into the show. So, just in general, do you agree with the term "year of the sequel" slash prequel?
I mean,
Sure.
Not a
not?
lot of original stuff tearing up the charts, is all I'm saying.
I don't have a list of every other year and every other number of sequel or prequel that was made. But it certainly feels bigger because when you have something like Lord of the Rings, like you have a Marvel, whatever is coming out. I mean, those are big. Marvel and Lord of the Rings alone are huge IPs. So that certainly feels true.
it
Yeah.
does. Well, and I think Top Gun is the one that's carrying it all along as far as like viewership and everything and clout in the media is concerned. So, I mean, that's the movie that's carrying the day.
There's a lot of hyped stuff that I didn't see yet. But for what I did see, if we were to do middies, Maverick would be my movie of the year. Yeah. I just had so much fun watching it. I've watched it 3 times now. Introduced it to Dylan on my second viewing, and then our kids on our third viewing. It's fun. People are trying to make it more than it is and giving it a right wing. The reason you liked it is because we aren't trying to be woke. And it's like I'm not attaching that much anything to it. It was just fun. It felt true to the original in the fan serviest of ways. I enjoyed it. That would be my movie of the year.
I think the big deal is that, like, right now with so many movies getting sequels and third, fourth film, Marvel Cinematic Universe, DC, whatever, to take a really old movie and that was very popular and actually make an equally good, maybe, or better film is a big deal in and of itself. Like, when was the last time anyone tried to take a really old, really good movie and do a sequel really well?
Dune.
Yeah.
But again, yeah.
But the first one was the 84 one.
And
Was,
so that's
But yeah, but I was going to say, but Dune had a very low bar to jump over.
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So to start out being a very popular movie and
Right.
deciding this far down the road, lots of movies get sequels that flop.
Yeah.
Lots of not very good movies might get rebooted or sequels, but who cares? They weren't very good.
Mhm.
This was already very good. And then they decided to make a sequel way later. And it was good.
The potentiality of really pissing people off goes up.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If they were sci-fi fans, they wouldn't have liked it. But it was general population. And general population was like, hey, very entertaining. Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of something that would be a similar situation where if they redid, did they ever do another like Fifth Element or was there any more of those? Or
Big sci-fi things like Blade Runner.
Or not sci-fi?
Well, they did do Blade Runner, but I don't think that one was as well. That's an example of it not as well received,
right?
Which is kind of easy to take a bad movie and make a better second one, or to take a good movie and make a worse second one.
Yeah.
Like, those are the easy routes.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I can't think of a good example in the moment of like trying to take something and make it a lot better.
Right.
Or make it as good or better, but I'm sure there's plenty. Somebody listening is screaming examples.
Pivoting to the most popular streamer, Netflix, if second and third and fourth, if subsequent seasons count as sequels, Stranger Things did really well, The Crown did really well, and Bridgerton, which I have never watched. But Netflix's biggest release of the year was Wednesday. There were 340 million hours of views in 1 week. For Wednesday, 340 million hours in 1 week, making it the most watched English language series Netflix has ever had. And Sherry and I binged it. We started watching it with the kids. The kids weren't available one night, so we just watched the rest of the way through the season. It's the Addams Family franchise following primarily Wednesday Addams, the daughter of the family, as she's off at boarding school. Tim Burton is behind it. One of my favorite directors. Loved the show. Really didn't like the last episode. Have you guys watched it? Are you aware of it? Where do you stand with Wednesday?
I've not seen it. I'm aware of its popularity, but I feel the same way that probably even some of the Netflix executives feel. Some of them have got to be sitting there just going, huh. Who knew? Not that they didn't try to make a nice show. I don't mean that. But it's like, we don't talk about Bruno as like the highest grossing Disney, most best-selling Disney song of like all time now.
Yeah.
And it beats Let It Go. And they just got to be going, that's not even like the main song of Encanto.
We didn't even try.
We weren't even trying with that one.
Yeah.
And the same, I think the same was true of even like Frozen. Like, I don't think they knew that it had any idea it was going to blow up the way that it did. So that they've got to just be thinking, Wednesday Addams, huh?
This is where the piece of me that like tries to find the reason behind something kicks in. And you hear stories about things that explode, and it's just like culturally we were ready for it. You know, Star Wars was 1977. After Vietnam, the nation was like, blah, blah, blah. They wanted a place to just escape and watch. Like, sci-fi wasn't really a big deal then. You've watched the documentaries and the behind the scenes. I wonder if the world was just ready for another Tim Burton-esque. It follows a lot of plot points of Harry Potter. They're off at a school for kids who are gifted. She's trying to her parents also went to that school, so she's trying to live outside of their shadow because they were popular when they went there. There's so many plot points that mirror like a Harry Potter story, but you just wonder, like, were we just ready for another sort of emo gothic, sort of playfully dark kind of thing? Don't know, but yeah, it's exploded.
Now's the time for a new Beetlejuice.
Ooh, who would you cast as Beetlejuice now?
Bill Hader.
Ooh, good one. That was really
fast.
Really quick response too. That's a good answer.
Just popped in.
That's a good one.
Also, you could still just do Michael Keaton, by the way. Like, I would be fine. He's in makeup anyways. It's not like Michael Keaton.
You know who I would do?
Do Beetlejuice.
Who's the guy that's ugly and funny and dated Kim Kardashian? What's his name?
What? Wait, and
the comedian and SNL cast member.
What about Kardashian?
Who's ugly and he dated Kim Kardashian?
Is that Pete Davidson?
No. Yeah, Pete Davidson.
Yeah.
I would make Pete Davidson Beetlejuice. He already looks like him.
I was thinking of someone else. The redheaded, bearded, balding comedian guy. You know what I'm talking about?
The one who got canceled?
Did he get canceled? No, I'm not talking about Louis C.K.
Louis C.K.
There's another one.
What about Chris
who's
D'Elia?
Super nerdy. I don't know his name.
Do you think Chris D'Elia could play Beetlejuice?
Kind of stocky build, balding, redhead, scraggly beard, thick rimmed glasses.
Oh, yeah. Brian Posehn.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could Chris D'Elia play Beetlejuice? Also canceled. Yeah, he'd do fine. He's physical, so that would be good. My favorite story of all of those shows I just mentioned, and again, I'm mixing like 3 or 4 different articles I read. I love the fact that Kate Bush, a musician from the 80s, made a song called Climbing Up That Hill, and then the producers of Stranger Things decide to put it in one of their episodes. And she goes from people forgetting her no name whatever to millions of dollars and introducing her music to a whole generation of kids watching Stranger Things and just starts raking in the money out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
I love that story. I think it's so cool.
Those are fun stories.
So any other thoughts on Netflix stuff or Wednesday?
What did you think? I mean, why you said the Harry Potter thing. That's why culturally people might be into it. Is that why you were into it? Or was there something, was it just well written, well acted, funny banter? I mean,
well, first of all, Tim Burton. So almost not everything, but almost everything Tim Burton does, I enjoy just because he's different. He's countercultural. He's weird and quirky. So that's the one. The second is the actress that plays Wednesday. She's terrific. Jenna Ortega. She's really cute, and she's 20, so that's not weird that I say that. She looks younger, but she delivers. You know, Wednesday has that deadpan. Her facial expression does not change.
Aubrey Plaza, but darker.
The Aubrey Plaza factor. Jenna Ortega. And she's just, it's so fun. The set is very elaborate. I enjoy the Harry Potter-esque-ness of it. There are different races so there's Gorgons, which are like Medusas. There are werewolves, and there are witches and wizards. So there's different classes of students at the school, and there's cliques and popular, so that's just kind of fun to follow. That feels very Harry Potter-esque. There's a ditzy blonde that's her roommate that she's the total antithesis of. That makes it fun. That's like the character in Harry Potter, the ditzy blonde. Luna Lovegood, that was in real life a huge Harry Potter fan, and they picked her out of a line of kids who was in line to get the books and put her in the movies. So that felt very similar. Christina Ricci, who plays Wednesday in the movies, is one of the teachers at the school. So that was fun that they brought her back. It's just a fun romp through the Addams Family world. And I thought that Morticia, played by Michael Douglas's wife, Catherine Zeta-Jones, are they still together? Did a really good job. So yeah, just casting was really well done. The acting was good. The sets are very elaborate and fun. It feels very Tim Burton, but it all leads up to a really disappointing and rushed finale. So that was my only bummer from the whole thing.
If it makes you feel better, Netflix will likely still cancel the series and never wrap up that ending.
Oh my gosh.
Because that's what they've been known for after the first, really, other than The Crown, most of their other major shows.
I just finished watching, People, I don't remember the name of the series now, but it's a series about a support group of, they call themselves experiencers, but they're all people who claim to have been abducted by aliens. People of Earth, I think is what it's called.
Okay.
And had 3 seasons. I did not know that, I didn't look at the dates. And 2017 was the last year that it ran. And the last episode of the 3rd and final season was a total cliffhanger, obviously expecting a 4th season. That didn't happen.
Ugh.
And that was the worst. Like, and it was one of those where like I'm messing around on my phone while like the episode wrapped up, didn't realize it was the end of the season, and then like this is on Hulu, and Hulu just like automatically decides what I'm going to be watching next, and it was something Alien-esque, but like I got like 15 minutes into that, and I was like, wait a minute, this doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
This goes back to my frustration that I think we've talked about before. If a series gets, let's call it preemptively, because they don't always know how long this show will go on.
Right.
But if your writers have written the show into it and into the end of a season in a way that you know it needs to continue, and then it gets canceled, I think everyone needs to at least do like a 1 hour special or a 2 or 3 episode finale and release it, as soon as they can. I don't care if it's ABC, NBC, Fox, Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus. If you know you've ended your show early, they should just start setting aside the budget to wrap up the show like at the end and say, hey, this is if we really cancel this before the stories are wrapped up.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to start setting aside a budget that'll get us through an hour or 2 to 3 episodes. Because you can't claim to be like, we build our content for the fans, but 60% of our shows we're going to cancel and disappoint you.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's not for the fans. Then it just feels like everything feels like a money grab.
I've had that feeling recently of a related point that you just mentioned, that on all of the streaming services, like they all have their own originals now, and some of them are great. Most of them are not.
Yeah.
And it feels like that's what they're doing, is that they're just throwing a whole bunch of crap out there in the hopes, and they don't know which one's going to stick around. And they just go with like the top 4 or 5 for that year, and the rest of them fall away.
Yeah.
Like I have felt that because I don't want to get anything that's brand spanking new, because I'm almost afraid of that happening.
Right. So it's almost like you wait till the 2nd or 3rd season of something to start watching.
Which is what I thought I was doing.
Yeah.
I didn't look at the dates.
I think I'm doing that with Yellowstone, and also with Jack Ryan, the one that Jim is in.
Yellowstone feels safe.
Yeah, because there's like 2 prequels that just spun off about it now.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Kate Bush was my segue to music. So in the year of music, Beyonce had a big year, apparently. I don't know. Don't follow. Harry Styles similarly made $214 million from
He's
his...
getting stuff thrown at him on stage.
Oh, really?
It's like a whole thing now. Like there's a viral video of him getting hit in the eye with a Skittle. But he makes fun of the crowd for it, and like someone threw a chicken nugget at him.
Now it's just going to keep going. Yeah.
And then at that very same show, he just kind of yelled out, "Anyone else want to throw anything?" Not in a mean way, like he was being funny about it. And so it's just going to keep happening.
Oh, he just invited that upon himself. T Swift, I know, Kendall, you're a big fan. Her Eras tour is on track to sell 590 million in tickets.
Crazy.
Making it the highest grossing tour ever.
Crazy.
By a female act, if you are lucky enough to get tickets.
She could tour every single night in arenas and sell out every single one.
And did she drop 2 albums at once? Is that the thing that just happened?
Maybe.
Okay. So she's tearing it up. And Bad Bunny, who I know nothing about, but I regularly see in
on top of the charts right now.
Yeah, the global, the Apple Global 100, 370 million in gross receipts. And Kanye continues to alienate people.
I was talking to Dylan about that earlier. Continues to alienate people. However, still top 5 downloaded artist in 2022.
Unbefreaking-leavable.
And that's,
why do we do
that's like
it?
Total for 2022. Even currently, like right now, today, 12.
Wow.
So there's...
People can act offended, but they're still hitting the download button.
Still hitting that download button. And we're still talking about
Still making money.
Yeah. In the world of art, AI art, artificial intelligent art, has gotten super controversial.
You love it, right?
I really love it.
Really opens up the world.
Okay, rein me in, boys. So there's 2 things. There's an application, not an app for your phone, an application. I don't think you can get this application for your phone. Mm-hmm. It's called DALL-E, DALL-E. And that's the one that people are saying like, emo hot pocket on a park bench on a rainy day waiting for someone that will never come. You can enter that phrase into the application and it will create an image that does not exist in real life. That is an amalgam of all those things that you said. Another one is like bottle of ranch. I forget what they're on a park bench or something. And whatever. Or show me an image of surgeons operating on a head of lettuce. And it will create that image out of those search terms. That's less controversial than this app called Lensa, which you are probably seeing people in your social media create their profile pictures from. You upload anywhere from, I don't know, it's like 5 to 15 images of yourself. And then it will create, pulling from actual artwork of artists without their permission, all kinds of really beautiful, stunning, cute artwork that is in a mashup of all of those images that you fed into it. It's like TikTok in that it's very intrusive. When it's taking your photos, it's allowed to do all things with them, but it pulls from this other source that is basically a giant database of images that includes it, but is not limited to pornographic things, artists, artwork, and medical records of actual human beings. And it's pulling from all of that to create these images that look really, really cool. And it's kind of themed. Like there's a space one and you'll get a Lord of the Rings one. So it's like Kendall, but it's like Space Kendall, super handsome. It's like Lord of the Rings Kendall with an extra long braided beard. And they look stunning. But people don't realize that it's stealing from artists both actually, and it's going to steal from artists because it's creating artwork of people that otherwise artists would be creating. And so the San Francisco Ballet, for example, rather than hire an actual artist to create their posters for the Nutcracker this year, just used the app Lensa and said, create Nutcracker artwork of the Mouse King. And that was their posters for the year instead of hiring an artist, and someone lost a job in quotes because that's how they obtained the artwork that steals from actual artists.
I'm more concerned. It's all concerning, but for me, the bigger deal is the sourcing material from someone else and not paying them some kind of royalty for it.
Right.
That's the big one for me. The other one, it sucks, but it feels like kind of evolution, right?
That's how things work. Yeah.
That's how things work. I mean, that's how the music world has gone that direction. And people can choose to honor that or not. And you'll always have purists. And when we had Jeremy Kester on here, it's one of those things where it's like, you cited an example where this is not the case, but I would say that by and large, the people who could afford the actual artist to come in and do it would still be doing that.
Right.
So people like me cannot afford an artist to do that.
Right.
So you're not actually stealing business from someone else if I were to use that app, but what you're not doing is paying royalties.
Right.
So,
and there's some weird way that the giant pile of images is trying to cover itself up. Like they're saying, well, it's not the images per se. It's an algorithm of an amalgam of all of the images. We're not telling you whose medical records those are, or what poor person is in that pornographic video. We're just putting it all into a thing that churns out really pretty artwork.
You're remixing it.
We're remixing it. Yeah. So that's fine, right? So anyway, don't use Lensa.
Yeah.
Dylan, thoughts on that?
Okay. I wouldn't know where to begin.
Okay.
Honestly, it's weird, but it feels like a lot of that stuff is going to be available with, people will do that with making music. There's software that you can just feed it a bunch of different music and right. It's
but you can't release it without paying the royalties.
Right.
Like you can't make money off of it.
And so it's weird. It's bizarre.
That's the part that bothers me as somebody who follows these artists and I can recognize their style. Mm-hmm. I'm seeing people on social media post their fancy new profile picture in that artist's style, like I can recognize it.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's clearly so and so. And it used, like, they definitely targeted certain artists because they really like their style, or it lends itself to really nice portraits.
Mm-hmm.
And now, with a click of a button and paying $1.99, you can get your own version
Right.
of this artist creating it. Anyway, in other pop culture, and we're wrapping up on the year in review, Corn Kid was a thing this year. In much more positive and wholesome news, Tariq from Recess Therapy on YouTube got famous overnight by how he says cone. And they remixed it, and it's adorable. Are you guys familiar with Cone Kid?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Do you know the remix? Have you seen the remix? It's got
Seen 'em all.
25 million views on YouTube.
I've seen I said there was a whole University of Michigan fans are familiar with our star running back of the year is Blake Corum until he got hurt for the season.
Yeah.
And there was a whole thing on him, but I like Corum.
The kid was even in a Chipotle commercial. Did you see that?
No.
Yeah, you just see the hand preparing the Chipotle food, and it's like, do you want rice or beans? No, thanks. Do you want this? All the way down to the corn. Do you want corn? And it's like, and then they show him, I love corn. And so,
I saw him on a red carpet. He's doing all these different things. It's a huge deal. God bless him. Wordle, which we've talked about many times on the podcast, was a big thing this year, and people are still sharing their Wordle results, whether we care or not.
We don't.
And Kendall, you added a few. The Will Smith, Chris Rock slap. We've talked about it a few times.
Slap, yep.
Yeah, the year of the slap. Did you have is there any new thoughts on that, or just
No new thoughts other than that all kind of fizzled real quickly, right? Like things tend to. Everyone's pissed off one way or the other, and then now it's just a thing that happened in 2022.
remember that? Yeah. Now it's a meme.
So
FTX, Sam Bankman-Fried.
only because
I know
that
nothing
feels
about
like
that.
like a generational fraud thing.
I know nothing about this.
You don't know anything.
I know nothing about this.
This is like, have you heard of Enron?
Yeah.
Worse.
Oh, really?
Yes. Yeah. Defrauding not just investors to pay a particular investor off, which is, I think, basically what Enron did. This was a company led by a guy, Sam Bankman-Fried, and cryptocurrency exchange with an app, right? So you give them money, they tell you have this kind of cryptocurrency or whatever. And so they have all of this money that's been sent to them, this cash that's been sent to them by all of these clients. They grew up to be like the second largest exchange in the world. And behind the scenes, they're not keeping books. They're not balancing anything. They're taking all this cash that's coming in and they're just using it as a their own little piggy bank. And buying personal property in the Bahamas.
What?
So it's like
I got to look into this.
You give them $100 and they tell you on the app that you have this much in Bitcoin or whatever it is, only it's not really there. If you were to try to then sell that back to them, they don't have the cash because they already, like Sam had already spent it on political campaigns and all sorts of things. Yeah.
So this is like Fire Festival meets Enron meets like
This is a generational business.
Is there a documentary on
story.
this or something?
There absolutely will be.
Yeah.
It's pending. Like he literally just pled today.
Wow. Okay.
It's huge.
And in other court news, the very popularized Amber Heard Johnny Depp court case, defamation case. As people were talking about that, I had this like guilty pleasure side of me that was bummed that I wasn't following it and watching every day. But I knew I was better for not watching it. But the memes and the stuff that came out of it and the stories that came out of it were pretty funny in the right hands.
Yeah, it was fun. There's a Court TV, I think. It's one of the public broadcast channels.
People were having watch parties.
Yeah. They've been replaying it for like the past 2 weeks because with the header that just says "Case of the Year," and so you can go back and rewatch the whole case.
Did you watch any of that, Dylan? Did you know
the trial?
Yeah.
I did. It was bizarre. I felt like I already knew a little bit before the trial and was leaning towards believing Johnny Depp. Not necessarily every detail, but overall, I was kind of leaning towards believing Johnny Depp. And nothing she said convinced me she was telling the truth. And a lot that he said convinced me he was telling the truth.
Mhm.
And so I just came out of it even more so thinking, yeah, this is, she really spun this for a long time, and it kind of got wrapped up in the Me Too thing, and that he really got blacklisted, and it really didn't seem fair. Not that he doesn't have his own issues and whatever, but it was wild. It was wild to watch, and it seemed like, the jury agreed, and I sort of agreed with the consensus that, like, they had a wild relationship, but he wasn't on the hook for the stuff she was claiming, at least.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, I'm glad. I since I feel like he needed his name cleared, I'm glad it mostly was. Not that I think a bunch of people are coming and knocking on his door yet to work, but all it would take is somebody like Disney and Pirates 6, and he'll have a nice payday again, and everyone can move on.
So for the uneducated, does it go back to he gets royalties from those franchises now, or could he if he starts over? So like for his role as Jack Sparrow and other things, like, and in the Harry Potter franchise, does he still get royalties from those things now that he's cleared?
I don't know.
I don't know how that works, or only if he starts over.
I don't know how that works either, but my assumption would be whatever money they were contractually obligated to pay him, nothing would have changed.
Yeah, I don't know. I need to go look that up, as well as the FTX thing. That's interesting. I'm a Johnny Depp fan and Tim Burton fan, so I'm surprised I didn't follow, but again, probably better for it. In the world of social media, Twitter was a big thing. Elon Musk now owns it. One of the funniest things of the year for this holiday season was people taking all their Noel decorations and rearranging the letters so that they said Elon instead of Noel. So like some people think that Twitter will be better for it. Some people think it's the worst thing that could ever happen. I don't have thoughts on the matter. You guys care about Twitter and what's going on?
I feel like things went one way for a while. Now they're going to go the other way for a while. That's honestly
That's a really good summary. Yeah.
Yep.
Perfect. Upcoming in the world of geek culture, there's a bunch of new things on the horizon. The Super Mario Brothers movie, Barbie movie, if you're a big fan. I'm really excited and have watched the trailer multiple times now for Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. And there will be new seasons of Succession and Ted Lasso in 2023.
So much good stuff.
Those are things that we have to look forward to.
I was going to say we get some great TV across the board. Lots of interesting stuff on television. I think some highlights. Welcome to Wrexham was one of the most viewed shows of the fall. People that would normally not watch stuff like that are starting to catch on to that show now. Andor was very much Star Wars and very much not Star Wars all at the same time, but in a great way.
Mm-hmm. Obi-Wan?
We had some Obi-Wan. We had some really interesting Marvel shows that came up. And that's on top of things like Lord of the Rings and House of Dragon and some of the other stuff that's going on. And a lot more. And Disney really got a rise out of some fans between Miss Marvel and She-Hulk and some of the different shows. People reacting very differently than maybe some of the earliest shows like WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier and Loki. So we're gonna see Loki season 2 this year. The trailers for Secret Invasion. By the way, pull up IMDb and pull up Secret Invasion. If you haven't seen the trailer, this is going to be a Disney Plus show for Marvel, kind of centered around Nick Fury. Read off some of the main cast for this TV show that's coming to Disney Plus. Who are some of the main people?
Samuel L. Jackson is Nick Fury. Ben Mendelsohn is Talos. Emilia Clarke, Olivia Colman. Wow, she was great. Colby Smulders, Christopher McDonald, Ben Kingsley, Kingsley Ben-Adir, Carmen, Martin Freeman. Wow, Don Cheadle. Wow,
crazy!
This will be good.
This is a freaking Disney TV show.
That's amazing.
But I mean, is it like a limited series?
Yeah, but still, that's a for a superhero agent with aliens limited series on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
These are like Oscar, Emmy nominated, like winning actors and actresses and whatever doing this. It's crazy. I love it. It's so good.
All right. In a more somber note, here's who we lost this year. Bob
grief.
Saget, Louis Anderson, just to name a few, of course. Olivia Newton-John, Angela Lansbury. We watched Bedknobs and Broomsticks as a kid regularly.
So good.
Ray Liotta, of course, Queen Elizabeth. Barbara Walters recently, Christine McVie. Our mom is in a Fleetwood Mac cover band, and so Christine McVie, that was a big deal. Jason David Frank, the green and white Power Ranger, and he would go to all the conventions and sign autographs for the fans and take pictures. If you were a Power Rangers fan, that was a tough one. Robbie Coltrane, most known for his role in Harry Potter. Coolio, the less cool version of Amish Paradise was Gangster's Paradise. Meatloaf, Gilbert Godfrey, James Caan from Elf, the dad. Kirstie Alley, Gallagher. So many watermelons will be saved. Nichelle Nichols, I know as from Star Trek. She played Uhura. And Kendall, I wanted your thoughts on the loss of the Amazing Jonathan. I know you're a magician fan. Did you follow the Amazing Jonathan, who is a comic / magician?
No.
Oh, wow. There's a really interesting documentary about his life that you can watch.
It's one of those things. I'm one of the worst people to remember names. That's me.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that I've probably seen
You've
him.
seen him. Yeah. If you Google it, you've seen him. So that's just a few people.
Did we talk about the Robbie Coltrane interview and the Harry Potter reunion?
Oh, you did, but let's say it again, and then we'll go to a break.
So there was a very sweet moment where Robbie's talking about, I think, exposing the films to his family, like kids, grandkids, nephew, nieces, or whatever. And he's basically, the quick version of what he says is, it's amazing that these films will go on and affect generation after generation. I won't be here anymore, but Hagrid will. And darn it if somebody didn't play that clip right after he died and get me crying. Like, oh my gosh, because it's so true.
Yeah.
Much like the original Lord of the Rings trilogy by Peter Jackson. Some of these movies are going to live on for a very, very long time. And Harry Potter's, that series is going to be one of those. So that almost unfair to play that clip after he passed away.
Yeah.
Because it's like, Hagrid will always be here. And it was just a very sweet. I mean, I cannot getting that line out of the reunion, getting the fact that he even said it and then passed away, in the same year that the Harry Potter reunion released was very timely to have that quote, I suppose.
Yeah, whether or not you were a big Harry Potter head, that reunion, was it HBO that they played?
Yeah, HBO.
That
Max.
reunion is worth a watch.
It was very good.
It's just good about the historical significance of the franchise. We will be right back after we hear from some friends in the Odd Pods Media Network.
Hi, I'm Sam.
I'm Richie.
I'm Little Matt.
And here in the 500 Section Lounge, we are three dads who host a family-friendly weekly podcast.
Yep, we laugh, we go on tangents, we talk to great guests.
Tangents. I don't know what you're talking about with that. There are gases leaking.
All right, okay.
Yeah, we have legendary conversations from sports to history and everything in between.
So be on the lookout for what we do next.
And always be there to
Grab a listen.
Hey, it's Dalton.
I'm Tony.
And I'm Sam.
We want to tell you about Big Ten Plus 4.
Do you want to hear football talk that doesn't only talk about the SEC?
Are you tired of always hearing about how the Big Ten doesn't perform in the Big Dance?
Then we're the show for you.
You can catch us each week live on the ASAP network.
And later that day on Odd Pods Media, we bring you college sports with a Big Ten flavor.
Big Ten Plus 4.
College sports with Midwest perspective,
Blue collar, and blue blood.
So, hot take, I'm going to put the hard Mountain Dews in this order. Original Baja Blast, watermelon, and then cherry, while it smells amazing, is the least interesting from a flavor perspective. Other thoughts?
That's so funny. Cherry is my favorite,
Okay.
and then Baja Blast, and then watermelon, then original.
Okay. Almost the exact opposite.
Almost. So for me, the cherry, I think, was possibly the most flavorful. I just didn't like the flavor of cherry, which is weird because cherry is usually my favorite of all things. But Baja Blast was my favorite, then followed by watermelon, then cherry, and then the regular Mountain Dew was my...
I would want a mixed case though, because I would still
Okay.
drink. I would still drink all of them,
Yeah.
and I really want to try them now when they're like ice cold, because that's when it's always the best.
I'm sorry.
I wasn't a complaint. I'm very grateful to have tried them. They're delicious. But when you get that, you're gonna pull a can out of the bottom of an icy cooler, and there's just something about that hits different
I
than
hear you.
the one sitting on top.
Yeah,
of the
if
ice.
these-
Europeans don't know what they're missing.
That's true.
If these things last until summer, it's gonna be it's gonna
Summer
be
of 23, it's gonna be COVID and it's gonna be a wild summer.
It's the year of the Mountain Dew.
Yeah, year of the hard dew.
Completely unrelated. So I was watching today's episode that just dropped of Bad Friends, one of my favorite podcasts I often reference, hosted by comedians Bobby Lee and Andrew Santino. Kendall, I really need to know what you thought of your Heinz baked beans from the UK, because we talked about it last episode. And Andrew, this is the difference between our podcast and other podcasts. He mentions those blue canned Heinz baked beans, and guess what? He gets a care package from Heinz with like swag, boxes of baked beans. Nothing. They're not sending us anything. Have you tried them? Do you like them?
I've not tried them.
Oh,
yet.
what a bummer.
Not tried them yet, but it sounds like it doesn't matter if I do.
It doesn't matter if you do.
Yeah.
I hope to be sponsored by Tushy. I just have to say that Spa 3.0 is going amazing. My life will never be the same.
Do you feel moist though when you're finished?
No, I just do a couple dabs and
Okay.
everything is fine. I did get a couple texts this week from friends saying, dude, don't need to hear about your bathroom habits. Maybe I didn't know I'd ever know this much about you.
Yeah.
is how they
I was
said
gonna
it.
say, yeah, they're here for the bathroom habit
Yeah,
talk.
you're here for the bathroom habits. In a serious note, I'm wearing my Bengals hat. Did anybody watch Monday Night Football last
Oh
night?
gosh.
Yes.
I just happened to be watching, and I guess, and I'm going to quote multiple commentators who said, in all their years of covering the NFL, they've never seen anything like this. If you don't know, Damar Hamlin, number 3 wide receiver for the Buffalo Bills.
Safety.
Safety, thank you, Kendall. Second year in the NFL. He's only 24 years old. He has it's not insanely violent. He has a hit on a offensive Bengal, stands up, and then immediately collapses on the field. That was not as scary as two things: the medical crew running over and their reactions, and then the players' reactions to him getting CPR on the field. Crazy. I mean, grown men just sobbing and holding each other, and like he's getting. I guess they had to get out the electrical paddles.
Mm-hmm.
He's in critical condition, but he's it was just alive, and it was just one of those things that like I've never seen. The commentators at the game, it was Joe Buck and
Troy
Aikman, but then they would cut to the headquarters in New York, and those guys, Booger, and some of the other casts, I mean, they're just like trying to fill dead space, and then they postpone the game. Crazy. Never seen anything like that.
Yeah.
What was cool, though, and positive, prior to his injury, Damar had started a toy fundraiser for kids that had sort of gone inactive. And his original goal for that GoFundMe was like $2,500. And the link got like reshared. And it's now over millions of dollars, a toy drive for kids, which is cool. And the family has sent out a press release saying how much they appreciate everybody's thoughts and prayers and whatever. Only reason I'm bringing it up is because I think, I mean, if the announcers say it's one of the craziest things they've ever seen covering the NFL, I'm prone to believe them. Pretty crazy.
especially when you have former NFL players and not just news people talking about it, but actual players going, I've never seen, I've had X number of broken bones and I've never experienced anything like this in a game.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wild.
When you hear about the fact that, well, obviously he wasn't breathing, otherwise they wouldn't be doing CPR.
Right.
They apparently, over the course of some time, got his pulse back.
Right.
You realize how scary that is, right? How close that is to being done.
Yeah.
Right there. And today he's still in critical condition, right? As long as we're recording this. But, man, it's, from what everybody said, it's one of those things that, like, you sometimes hear about.
Yeah.
Right. When I was in college, there was I think it was Grand Valley State University, which was in the conference at the college I went to, played football in, and they had a player who during practice, same kind of thing, he got hit in the chest and it killed him. And so from what it sounds like happened is this electrical situation that happens, the hit to the chest timed just to the millisecond, can do that to a person who's and it is so rare that it hasn't happened. In the NFL, everybody might have a one-off story of where they might have heard something like that happening before, but that's the thing, and it doesn't matter what the cause of it was. It was the fact that you literally had somebody fighting for their life. To the point where they had to get revived out of it. So
there was a doctor on YouTube that shared a video within an hour of this happening, within an hour of him collapsing on the field, which the fact that he could record and edit and submit and upload this video, I don't think he was doing it for the clicks. I think he's describing exactly what you're saying, this thing called like commotio cordis or something like that, where like you have to have a massive blow to the chest right at exactly the wrong time in the cycle of a heartbeat. That's exactly what happens. It just, like, the odds of it happening are slim to none, and this is what happens. Anyway, just crazy to watch, and then kind of, you're kind of glued to the TV because now you want to know what's going to happen.
Well, for a while you're waiting for a game to restart.
Yeah, and they thought they were, and then the coaches were like, "There's no way." And I was just glad to see the NFL do the right thing, my opinion of like, there's no way these guys can go back. And then somebody, I think it was Boog, who said it really well. He's like, "This is a game for entertainment, and nobody's in the mood to entertain or to be entertained right now. They just want to know that he's okay." It would be for all the wrong reasons. Yes, it's going to be hard to reschedule. Yes, there are big implications for this game, but clearly what's most important is like a human being whose life is on the line. Anyway, that was just, it was newsworthy, and we don't typically get serious on the cast, but man, I just didn't know if you guys had seen that and what your thoughts were.
Yeah, you guys already said it well. It was wild to see, but I'm glad that they canceled it. And some of the stories about the fundraiser and players going to wait at the hospital and fans vigils outside the hospital. Sometimes like I think we sort of mock sports for being like Neanderthal entertainment. So it's nice to have moments like that where there's it's not just about my team beat up your team, and
right,
where fans instantly get it, are doing the right thing, or taking care of the other fans, and players take care of the other players.
Yeah,
and so,
I mean, that millions that are going to that toy charity, like, certainly probably the lion's share of that is Buffalo fans, but it ain't all of them,
right?
You know what I mean? It's just NFL fans all over the place.
It's just fans and players from all over the place. So yeah, I think that's really cool.
If it's worth watching, Ryan Clark is a former player, and when they finally cut away from the game and the New York, I forget what they call that when they go to New York, whatever, in the offices. So Scott Van Pelt comes on, and he has Ryan Clark on there. And watch Ryan Clark's 1.5-minute conversation about the NFL in general and injuries. It's so perfectly worded. He's a former player. He had some very serious injuries. And it was just like one of the most empathetic, articulate, thoughtful comments on just like what really matters when we care so much and you get mad at your favorite fantasy player because he did or didn't do something. And like, it is a violent game. It's not common that this stuff happens. It certainly is rare, but the fact that it can happen, these people who were a boy at one point and dreamed of one day living out their dream, and then with something like this, it can become a nightmare. It was just so. I'm not going to do his talk, but just watch Ryan Clark's thoughts on the DeMar Hamlin thing, and certainly our thoughts and prayers are with them. And yeah, they'll play whenever the time is right, but it was not the right time to try to continue that game. Anyway, other thoughts? What's going on in you guys' lives? What's new? What's shaking? What are you excited about for the new year? Any stories we neglected to mention from last time?
Oh, heavens. I'm sure we got something buried in there.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, geez.
I have a ton of notes, but I need to hear you guys talk for a while.
It was weird. It was such a busy day that my note-taking was not as good as it should have been.
How's integrating back into work going for you, Dilly? I know you have a week or so off and you have to reintegrate. Reentry can be a bit of a bear sometimes.
I still work from home, so it's not like I've got to drive an hour and a half.
Working from there.
My reentry is like an alarm being set.
Yeah. Elon Musk is right. Working from home ain't work.
I didn't say don't work. Just said it's a little less shocking.
That's what I heard.
Driving to an office. It was fine. I manage people, so most of my job is managing them, not performing another singular task. And so a lot of the last couple weeks has been like, hey, everybody relax as much as you can, work if you have to, kind of thing. And so coming back was kind of the same. Like, let's ease into the week. Like, nobody's gonna, nobody's firing off a start pistol. Like, just relax and ease back in. So it was fine. Nothing crazy going on. I was able to. We were talking about Floggens and IKEA parts, and I was able to assemble my new flavor edition desks and get those set up. Got a new workspace I'm working on. My office a little bit, need some shelves, and it's going to be an office and Lego room, and that's very exciting. I've never really had like a permanent place I could just always have a Lego something being built or worked on or displayed. And I don't mean displayed like a little shelf, but I mean a considerable space. It's always like on a dining table or a coffee table or a
someone
kitchen
else's
counter.
Is like, is it time to get this out of here?
Yeah, it's like this has been here for days. Like it's time to move it. And so that's what my office is becoming. And probably eventually a gaming PC will go in there. But for now, it's fun. I'm sort of working on that space a little bit to be my own and to have fun. So it's really exciting. It's like it's fun taking my time piecing it together and figuring out what I want it to look like. And
well, speaking of your spaces, and this is one of the items on my note, I just wanted to say you hosted 2 family Christmases back to back. I was there for both of them. And I just have to say, Christmas at your new place was really fun. And I felt I know this sounds weird, probably proud of you, because I'm proud of your space. You had like a classy but casual Christmas. There was like Christmas jazz playing on Bose equipment, and you had really thoughtful little coffee station. And the thought that you put into the food, you had Chipotle catered to one, and then like a bunch of fun meats on your fancy foodie ninja thing. Like it was just I felt comfortable, but it felt like classy at the same time. And like props, I thought you and Bree both did a terrific job hosting. It was really, really special having Christmas at your place.
Well, thank you. Yeah, we tried to put on a nice show and meal for everyone. And I forgot my Michael Scott classy Christmas. I could have hired an oboist. Is that how you say that? Oboist? Cellist?
Oh,
well, that's a different thing.
Two different instruments.
Two different instruments, but it's
one
too expensive to get a whole jazz band, so you just hire one.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, oboist, I guess.
Sure.
Suppose.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Obi, maybe.
it was really nice. The weather was super cooperative. It was like mid 50s, and so we did those back to back this past Thursday and Friday. And I tell you what, Saturday, no joke, I slept until about 10:30, and then I got up and had breakfast. and I laid on the couch and turned something on around 11:30, and I slept till about 12:45. And
Nice.
then later, the Michigan game was on. The first college football playoff game was on, and slept for about 45 minutes in the middle of that.
Yeah.
I'm laying on the couch.
Good.
And so I definitely slept a lot after those 2 days. It was nice. It was nice to catch up on some sleep.
Wonderful.
After like being up early and being around to set up. So it was a lot of fun. I got to catch up on some sleep, and I'm glad everyone enjoyed it. So, or at least you did. So.
Yeah, a player of the oboe is an oboist or
good.
oboist.
A boist. Sounds like another IKEA part.
Yes, a voice.
Did you get an oboist for your house?
Flanken.
Speaking of gaming, so one thing I like to do each Christmas, and props to our mom, Dylan and I's mom, gets us only what we ask for. She doesn't try to
So.
get cute and like, I think
bless
they
her.
would like this. She's like, I'll get you things from your list, and that's all. Maybe a few little things that she saw, but they're typically smaller value items.
Right.
But the big stuff she pulls from your list.
And she'll even still say, if I get you this $150 Lego AT-AT, that's the only thing that you're getting.
And you're like,
Star Wars. You're
okay,
like,
mom.
great.
Mom,
And
I'm in my 30s. You
I
could
know.
buy me nothing. It'd be fine.
It'd be fine.
But,
so she's great about that.
Yeah, so one of the things I like to do is ask for things that I probably wouldn't otherwise buy myself. And one of those things is video games that might be a miss. What I mean is there's a lot of gimmicky novelty type video games, right? We've talked about them on the podcast before. There's one where you get to be a mosquito and you fly through a house and you suck the blood of the humans in the house. It's called Mr. Mosquito. It came out 15 years ago. It's weird and gimmicky, but part of you goes, I'd like to try that. And one of the ones that I've thought looks really exciting is Farming Simulator 2022. Do I look tired to you guys? Do I look like I put in a hard day's work? Because I did. I was in the fields most of the day. Oh my gosh. Almost immediately I realized this is really fun, but I'm really bummed that I didn't discover games like Farming Simulator 22 at the beginning of COVID. Because the time input required to really do it and really do it well. Have you ever discovered a game or a hobby that you're like, man, this is really fun, but there's no way I'm going to be able to devote the amount of time. There's 3 ways you can play. You can start out and basically your farm is already operating, and it's like you just sort of like watch how things are going and devote resources to problems and whatever. There's one where it's like about a medium, like there's still a lot you can do, but you get a really hefty, nice head start. And there's one where you can start from scratch. This is one of the most elaborate, detailed, and realistic games I've ever seen. And you're just going back and forth in a field. And what's great about it is that my stepdad, our mom's husband, is a farmer, and they're the ones that got me the gift. So I'm like texting them images of my screen where I'm like cultivating a field, putting in a hard day's work.
Hey, come to my house where I need actual farm hands.
It's so fun and so realistic and so detailed, but almost immediately I was like, this is just because you can work your way up and get better equipment, and then you can buy like animal things and greenhouses. You can buy the local businesses. The level of detail is such that when you get in the tractor, your little character is like doing all the actual shifting and pulling the actual levers that would be required to lift and engage the equipment. Then you can change the radio station from classical to like tropical to country, none of which are officially licensed song. There's a whole playlist of music that was created just for the game, for all those categories of music, the time of day, the snow, the weather effects, the crops. It's so fun, and I'm just like, why did I ask for this? Because now it's just the most it's a giant time suck. Have you ever bumped into like either a hobby or a game or an interest that's just like, I could see myself in another phase of life, like maybe when I don't have a full-time job, a side hustle, and 3 small kids. Like, give me this game when I'm retired or really sick.
I've thought about that I'll see a promotion for some of the like monthly subscriptions to like all Marvel comics. Like you can download and read every Marvel comic for like $8.99 a month
Yeah.
with Marvel Unlimited, and it's like, it's not an expensive. I mean, that's one trip to fast food for me in a given month pays, but I'm like, where do I start in the entirety of the Marvel universe and every comic? And I don't even know. Plus it's not a fast thing. I mean, it's not like people who are like, oh, I want to read, but I can't. So I download the audiobook and put it on 2 times speed. It's just as fast as I read, but you want to take the time to appreciate the art and it's like, that's a thing where, nope. If I was a kid now, if I was 10, 11, 12 now, I think I'd be asking my parents, like, can I get this? Can you make this my Christmas gift and just pay for a year at a time? And I think that would be fun, but I can't now. There's no way.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't. By that, I mean, I literally could if I made time, but I'm telling myself, no, you
Don't
can't.
do it.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. Don't get into reading.
Yeah.
Dylan.
I had this very
But the art.
You've got movies to watch.
I had this very excited and bummed feeling because I was like, this is really fun and elaborate. Oh no, I'm really never going to be able to do this. Even if you start with like, you're already in the swing of it, you have a successful operating farm mode. It's just not as fun if you didn't like start from scratch. The other interesting layer is I know every game you're pretending to be something you're not, right? Like in Call of Duty, you're pretending to be this like highly trained tactical weapon of the military, but something about receiving the gift from an actual farmer feels, I don't know, weird.
Oh, he thinks I'm a farmer.
No, just like,
Or
my 38-year-old stepson's going to pretend to be a virtual farmer and I'm actually farming and actually sweating and actually bleeding to do this thing that I love.
You just need to bring up how much you know about farming every time you show up just to watch his blood boil.
You probably should have harvested your corn a little earlier. You'd get a better yield on your... Oh, my gosh. It's so
normally
funny.
I would have, but my corn upgrade that I unlocked lets me get it sooner.
Yeah. Why don't you just gather more coins and
So should we
get a
ask
new combine?
Should we ask the Grab 'em and the Brisket guys if they know of any good brisket podcast video games?
Yeah. I need a
Or
brisket simulator.
simulator.
A brisket simulator video game. And there are a lot of them. I mean, Flight Simulator is... by the way, I looked on Reddit because I was looking for some tips in the game.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know how to do some stuff. The controls are very elaborate.
Sure.
So I find on Reddit people who are deep into Farming Simulator 22. They have multiple monitors, a steering wheel, the pedals under their desk, the shifter, and the equipment levers that are all hooked up to their gaming PCs.
Yeah.
To play Farming Simulator. And I'm like,
Wow.
if you wanted, it's not that much more time and effort to become an actual farmer.
Well, but I mean, this way you get to have... Well, they still have air conditioning. I think Corey just described to us what his 2023 Christmas list is going to be after he's gained 45 pounds.
I mean...
And has lost his job.
I understand all of that equipment on racing games where you're moving a lot. But like Farm Simulator, once you turn, aren't you just going straight for a long time then again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's
And so
real
you're like
therapeutic.
a very slow turn. And then after about 3 seconds, you just stop and hold
But
it.
that's where you can hit circle and an AI takes control of the tractor.
You buy all of this equipment just so
I
that
don't
you
wanna
can
have to-
watch it get automated.
I don't want to have to virtually farm. I want my AI to
So
virtually
you're not even
farm.
steering now. You have the steering wheel that you can look at.
And you can
As
do
it steers
you can do
itself.
contract work. So that could be your farm. And then you can do contract work for other farmers.
Oh.
You can have up to 3 to earn more income. That's where the city simulator thing comes in, where
Okay.
you're now trying to do the cost analysis of like, does it make more sense for me to hire these fields out while I go build
Why don't you just
an
FaceTime-
animal husbandry?
Why don't you just FaceTime our stepdad while he's farming? Just watch him conduct business as a farmer.
I'm now like, can I sit on your lap while you harvest the corn? Because now I'm fascinated with
Can I
this
sit
whole
on your lap while you close this business
3
deal?
seconds later, can we let the AI finish? I gotta pee.
Oh man, it's fascinating.
Oh boy.
I neglected to mention something pretty exciting. So part of the reason, the reason I was in New York City, Jersey City with my wife is because the company that I'm with was meeting with a mass media company. I can't say the name, but they have a lot of
Odd Pods me?
They have, mass media.
Yeah, Odd Pods.
They have a lot of music and radio and podcasts. So one of the things we do at the beginning of our workshops is name what's your role, and then like a fun little icebreaker for the room. There's 30 executives in the room, half from my company and half from this mass media company. When my boss, Josh, says, and the icebreaker question was, what's your favorite guilty pleasure podcast? And Josh does not listen to any podcasts. He's never listened to one in his life, and he's definitely never listened to ours.
My guy.
But he heard that I had one. And so he said, my name's Josh, and my favorite podcast is From the Middle, in front of the executives of a company that our platform is actually on.
Oh, boy.
And so I was like really excited, but also really embarrassed when I realized like I talk about my bidet on that show. Oh, I'm going to lose my job.
Sorry, guys. If you're listening to this, you probably didn't make it this far, but gotcha.
So I was like, oh my gosh, our listenership is going to skyrocket. It is not. No. But it was pretty cool being in
they
the
don't
room
listen to podcasts either.
with this.
Yeah, they don't listen.
It was pretty cool being in the room with these guys.
Yeah, we were curious texting you if you're going to ink us a new deal or something.
Yeah, working
Get
on
us
it.
some kind of exclusivity with that certain platform. Yeesh.
Yeesh. Well, I'll tell you that my weekend, we had another sick kid. We've always got a sick kid, it seems. It's been that way.
Sorry.
I mean, it's not bad. He had a little bit of a fever. He's over it now, but no, we stayed home on Saturday. We were going to go to a friend's party. We ended up not doing that. Watched the football games, which was a very interesting couple of college football playoff games. They were both essentially the same game.
Felt very similar, yeah.
And underdogs won in both of them.
Yep.
And of the four teams, none of them played defense that day. None of them played defense that day.
The first pair of really competitive playoff games we've had in 8 years.
Sure, that's a fair point.
We've always had blowouts, at least one blowout. And that was the first set of play-in games that were like, dang.
Two games that came down to whoever gets the ball last.
Yeah, very interesting.
Yeah, so that was good. It was, neither game went the way that I wanted it to go, but it was still fun to watch.
Yep.
No regrets there. I just have to remember to cancel my Fubo subscription before the trial expires.
One thing I think we can all agree upon now, pretty much everyone within hundreds of miles, if not most of the country, everyone is rooting for TCU except Georgia, right?
Oh, absolutely. Everybody was rooting for TCU except Michigan.
Yeah.
I felt that.
And one of my colleagues that's an Alabama fan, I'm like, does this become an SEC thing for you? Or are you even rooting for TCU? She's like, no, I'm rooting for TCU.
Yeah, everybody wants to see.
Everybody wants to see.
Man, that's a story.
And this is worth a moment in and of itself. I'm going to take a moment for TCU.
Take as many as you want for TCU. Go Horned Frogs.
Go Horned-Toed Chimichangas. Okay. This is a team that was put. That is a whole.
Those are probably delicious.
That's
this is a team, as a reminder, that was playing in the Mountain West like 10 years ago.
Mm.
And in all of the realignment, got theirs. Got to start playing their big brother schools in Texas again. Was still pretty darn good under Gary Patterson, by the way. Like, never a bad team. Made it to a New Year's Six Bowl, made it to a Rose Bowl, and is now in the freaking national championship and in a playoff. And I don't know stories much better than that make college football as good as it is.
with a quarterback who didn't start at the beginning of the season. right?
Just so good.
Coming off of a 5-7 season.
Yeah, and I'm not. Yeah, again, it's perfect because I wasn't even talking about like the players, and like it's such a good story. Keep going.
Yeah. No, that's the story. I mean, Max
Yeah.
Duggan, I think, has the hearts of America right now.
Yeah, I love
like,
it.
He has the spirit of Tim Tebow in his college days. Well, Tim Tebow now, like he's still kind of golden retriever-ish, even though like he can't get a playing career, which is probably unfortunately the future that Max Duggan has for him. But holy cow,
That's why all these
that
programs
kid makes you
move
want
up.
to love him.
Yeah, and that's why all these programs move up. Utah is so close. Utah keeps winning the Pac-12. They just can't quite get to the national championship. But that's why these schools move up. They want that opportunity. They want to be able to play a blue blood, win the game, move on to the Natty, have a chance at the national championship. And for a lot of us, frankly, not for a lot of us here, yes, a lot of fans know. For fans of the blue blood schools, yes, you're excited to make it to a Natty, but I can't imagine it's anything like what's been happening at TCU's campus the last
Crazy
couple days. They have got to be going absolutely nuts. And congratulations to TCU for getting there. I hope you win the Natty. Please
too.
beat Georgia.
Yes,
Please beat Stetson Bennett.
And we're only going to see
fourth.
more of that with the playoff. And that would be true of an expanded playoff, whether it was 8 or 12 teams. It doesn't matter. It happens to be 12. But people who are complaining that the playoff expanding is going to ruin the regular season more, I think it's the opposite. I think it gives the regular season back the weight that it should have had. You can still schedule a big program and lose and still make it to a playoff, which is still meaningful. The fact that you're even scheduling good teams and playing a good team early on and winning can help you get a higher seed, and playing a big school and losing doesn't necessarily mean you're out. You could still have a shot. I don't think it takes anything away from the regular season, but we're going to see more of these kind of games and more matchups that we've never seen before. And that's going to be freaking awesome.
I mean, the week heading up into that, like if you're watching any of those bowl games now, and for anything about previous generations trying to blame our generation for ruining bowl season, I'm like, well, you guys did that when you decided to come out with like 85 bowl games.
Right.
And now if you're bowl eligible, you will go to one. It's no longer a reward of any kind. And like trying to watch these smaller bowl games, which there's a ton of them heading up to the real bowl games, and then some even after. Like, I was watching a game sitting there with my wife, and I'm like, this is a bowl game. It's supposed to be special. It doesn't feel special. You know, it would feel special if this was a playoff game right now.
Right.
I would be far more interested in it.
Right. Yep.
I agree. I'm very excited. Whether TCU wins or loses, it doesn't matter. We will all be horned frogs, except the state of Georgia, next Monday.
Indeed.
When is our boy Sam going to have you guys on Big 10+4? Because you guys in your college football knowledge is, you're very articulate, but also approachable about it. I appreciate that.
Yes. You read that just like I wrote it for you. Thank you.
Sam, what's up, man? They need to be our mid-roll break, our mid-roll ad probably. Other thoughts? I feel like we've gone long.
Holy cow. Yeah, I think we've been recording for like 5 hours.
Yeah, we've gone a little long. I'm a little tipsy on hard
in the
Mountain Dew. This has been really fun, and I'm excited about our podcast. I'm excited about connecting with you guys weekly. What would make it more exciting is if you guys out there listening, whoever you are, some of you we don't know. I'm to this day surprised when I hear people say that they listen. Mm-hmm. You're these mysterious supporters out there in the ether. We would love to hear from you. So please email us at fromthemiddle@protonmail.com. That's PROTONMAIL.com. Use our social media channels and our LinkTree to reach out to us via. We have a phone number that you can call and leave voicemails if you'd like on topic ideas, or you just want to weigh in, tell us you agree or disagree with what we're talking about. If you have a topic suggestion, whatever, you can text us at that same phone number. You can leave comments, you can rate, review, all of those things we appreciate, but nothing is more fun than hearing from you directly. So reach out, let us know that you're listening, let us know your thoughts. We would love to hear that. And thank you, of course, to Artius Man, the greatest beard grooming products on the face of planet Earth, made locally here in Central Ohio with all organic and natural products. That's artiusman.com, ARTIUSMAN.com. Use promo code THEMIDDLE at checkout to receive 25% off of your entire order. Woo! They have a lot of really good stuff. I got a lot of compliments on my restoration scented beard balm that I was wearing the other day. So, check them out. Let us know you're listening. We'd love to hear from you. Hope you have a great week and an even better 2023.
All right. Do you want that noise to be kept in? Did you do that? Was that one on purpose? Was that voluntary?
Involuntary at this point.
That was involuntary in the microphone?
It was voluntary.
What did I do?
Voluntary. You wanted that in there. That
Sure.
was intentional.
Well, the timing of it seemed like you were trying to do it.
I don't always realize when I do it anymore.
Oh, okay.
It was voluntary.
Sometimes I just wait for pauses and do it because there's a pause.
Well, honestly, like just for like your sake, I don't know
Don't stop.
if you're if you're like self-conscious about it or anything. So like I cut those out when they happen.
Oh, I'm not at all. You can always.
He's making a fart noise that our dad used to make, and he's being funny. That noise is intentional.
Yeah.
He's being cheeky Dylan.
I thought it was a tick.
No, it's not. That's so good. We need to leave all that in. That you thought it was a tick. Oh, and he didn't want to say anything. He's been cutting it out.
I honestly thought it was a tick, and I have been cutting it out.
It is not a tick, ladies and gentlemen. That is 100% pure Dylan entertainment.